Do re mi fo sol la ti do. What's better, a controller or a $400 controller? Let's talk about it. If you've played fighting games for any length of time, then you've more than likely heard of fight sticks, mix boxes, and any other variation of the sort. Hell, plenty of top players use these themselves. They are so commonplace you may be led astray as to believe you have to have one of these. I'm here today to tell you that you don't, and most people who buy them are completely wasting their time and money. Let me explain. You see, somewhere along the way a myth started floating around in the FGC. I can't do these inputs because I don't have a fight stick. Or, bro, just get a fight stick, you'll be so much better. Not true, not true, not true, not true. Truthfully, it's all preference. First of all, let's discuss what a fight stick even is. A fight stick is simply the arcade controller for fighting games, but without the whole fucking machine attached, obviously. I hate to break it to you, but they're archaic and outdated. Most developers have been designing their fighting games around your standard PlayStation and Xbox controllers for decades now. Are there any advantages at all for a fight stick, you may ask? Yes, there are more buttons and they can be chained together more effectively, I guess you could say, than a standard pad controller. Even still, there are many top players who still play on a standard pad. Not only Sonic Fox, which is one of the best fighting game players ever, but Yasha, who is one of the best fighters players in the world and it's not even questionable, also uses a pad. I can give you countless examples of players that use pads. It is once again preference. Yasha's the one playing in the clip playing in the background. He did lose this game unfortunately, which kind of hurts my case a little bit, but anybody who knows anything about this game knows who Yasha is and knows Yasha is really about it. If there were any significant advantages at all, don't you think they would have switched over by now? Be serious. It's all preference. But here's where my problem with this whole discussion lies. New players should be nowhere near these things. If you have less than a year into fighting games period, I don't think you should ever consider one of these. And it goes back to my pre-mentioned myths that they somehow make you better at the game. Even a game like Tekken that has 2 to 3 button presses at a time allows you to just bind it all to one button. So please, for the love of God, stop brainwashing these new players. I have many friends who've decided to take the route of fight sticks and mix boxes, most with less than 2 years into fighting games. If you want to get better at the game, play the game. Let me make myself clear by saying there's nothing wrong with owning one of these controllers. I just take issue with people acting like they are an advantage in any way. People acting like they have to have them to learn or be good at a game. And people wasting $400 when they could simply put the time in and learn the game. I understand fighting games have an annoying learning curve, I get it. But these dudes looking at fight sticks like an athlete does steroids. Cut the bullshit. Learn to play the game. Don't expect a controller to do it for you. It's all preference. Not to mention it's going to take you a month or two to even learn how to use one. Further pushing back how good you are at the game because you're still trying to learn how to use a controller. Now you have 2 learning curves and will not even want to learn the game you are playing. My advice, if you're interested in a fight stick, make sure it's because you think they may be better suited for you. You should only reach this decision after you already know how to play the respective game you play, and you should not expect it to elevate your game in any crazy way. Some of y'all might be saying, this dude's talking out of his ass. I mean, people aren't actually out here saying fight sticks are better, are they? Yes, they are. Look at this shit, man. Yes, arcade sticks are generally better than controllers. Most fighting games are better played with an arcade stick. Says who, bro? You can do more with your hands and fingers than when you're gripping a smaller controller. This is true. If you get nervous during play, an arcade stick makes it harder to mash unintended moves. This is the selling point you're trying to sell people on, bro? This is the selling point? It's also harder to sweat and make everything slippery. Again, let me reiterate. I do not mind people using these controllers. There's not a problem with it. My problem is these kind of comments that are brainwashing newer players to waste $400 on a controller when they just suck ass at the game, period, bro. They need to learn how to play the game. A $400 controller is not going to make you better at your game, bro. The pro's choice. There's a reason why most professional players use an arcade stick. Before they even get into their little shit, I want to give my theory of why pro players use fight sticks. Because a lot of them are fucking 30 years old, bro. Not all of them, but a lot of them come from the era of arcades, so obviously they're going to prefer arcade inputs. Fighting games often require sophisticated directional movements and button presses, where you can do more easily with a joystick and can move with your whole hand when you have big buttons spread out for your convenience. This is true. This is the only sole benefit of a fight stick, in my opinion. There are more buttons, there's more room to move around with the buttons, but we're not going to talk about one of the cons. The joystick has more room to move than a D-pad. It takes longer to do a motion input with a joystick on an arcade stick than it does a pad. Again, it's preference. There's nothing wrong with either choice. Here it's going on to say there's exceptions, and Sonic Fox, is the exception. And I agree, Sonic Fox is the best fighting game player to ever play fighting games, in my opinion, and this dude has never once touched a fight stick, a mixed box, or anything. And here is the problem once again. Wow. However, Sonic Fox is an exception, and he would probably perform even better if he makes the switch to an arcade stick. Bullshit. Absolute lies. Fake news. These controllers do not make you better at the game, bro. Stop pushing this narrative. Stop making new players who already have a hard enough time getting into the genre even harder, because you're telling them they need to buy a $400 controller to even compete, which is simply not even true. This shit gets me a little riled up because it's just cap, man. It's just cap. Whatever you like, you should do. I'm just saying, if you are a beginning player, hold out. Do not rush to get one of these controllers because your buddy said it'll make you better, because your favorite YouTuber said it'll make you better. It's all preference. That's all I'm going to say about this topic, really. I mean, again, do what you want, man, but please do not fall victim to this. Make a rational, informative decision about what controller is best for you. A fight stick, a hitbox, a mix box, none of it is steroids. It will not make you better at your game. This video is a bit of a rant, I will say. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like, sub, comment. As always, I appreciate all y'all for all the support. So close to 1,000 subs. I'm going to keep trucking along. My cheeks are tight, but if you want to find out, you can find out tonight.